The biggest blizzard in years is hours away. Blizzard warnings are officially in effect for the Jersey Shore, the Delaware coast, the entirety of Long Island, and the coastline of Connecticut. Those blizzard warnings are being extended into eastern Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Cape Cod. Winter storm warnings cover the entire state of New Jersey, Philadelphia, the New York City metro, and stretch all the way up through the entirety of Massachusetts. The entire state of New Jersey is either under a winter storm warning or a blizzard warning. It's been a long time since we've seen that. Before I go any further, the GFS deserves enormous credit here. It sniffed this storm out before any other model. While the European and Canadian were backing off, the GFS held strong. It is catching a major win with this blizzard now looking imminent on every piece of guidance available. Every model is on board now. This is your Sunday forecast for February the 22nd, 2026, and for millions of people from DC to Maine, this is the storm of the season. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. The upper-level setup is textbook for a major nor'easter. A big, swirling mid-level low over Canada is transferring energy eastward into the northeast and mid-Atlantic. An atmospheric river of moisture stretching from the Pacific through the southeast and into the mid-Atlantic is feeding into this developing system. The cold air is already in place. February is still cold enough for snow across the entire northeast and mid-Atlantic, and even though we've had warmth recently, the air mass that's arrived is more than sufficient to support heavy snow. This may start as rain for some areas, but that will not be the main precipitation type. The changeover to heavy snow is coming fast. The upper air dynamics driving this are explosive. A massive trough is dipping into the eastern United States, and on the exit side of that trough, divergence in the upper atmosphere is creating enormous amounts of lift. Wind in the upper levels converges as it enters the trough and then spreads apart violently as it exits. That spreading motion, called divergence, scoops air away aloft and forces air from below to rush upward to fill the void. The result is extreme rising motion, and that rising motion is maximized right over New England. That corridor of explosive lift correlates directly with where the highest snowfall totals will end up. Let me time this out for you because the snow is already starting for some areas, and the heavy stuff is only hours away. Right now, Sunday morning, rain is falling across the Carolinas and the Mid-Atlantic. Much needed rain, so if you're down there, count your blessings. Snow is already falling in the interior across West Virginia, western Maryland, and interior Pennsylvania. The changeover from rain to snow is happening from west to east right now. By this afternoon, the coastal low pressure forms and starts deepening. The precipitation shield expands and heavy snow fills in from D.C. and Baltimore northward through Philadelphia and into New Jersey. The pressure starts around 1,000 millibars this afternoon. By tonight, this goes from a messy rain-snow mix to full-blown heavy snow falling from D.C. to Baltimore to Philly to the entirety of New Jersey. And then it cranks up. By midnight, the pressure drops to 980 millibars. That's bombogenesis. The bomb cyclone is real. Snowfall rates of 1 to 3 inches per hour develop across New Jersey, Delaware, Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Thundersnow is a real possibility in the heaviest bands. This is when the blizzard is raging. Monday morning is the peak. The bomb cyclone is fully wound up offshore. Blizzard conditions are ongoing from the Jersey Shore through Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Cape Cod and Nantucket see hurricane-force wind gusts. Boston gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Eastern Long Island and the Jersey Shore see 60 to 70 miles per hour. Blowing snow reduces visibility to near zero. This is a full-blown blizzard by every definition. Monday afternoon, the snow begins winding down for Philadelphia and New York City. Still snowing hard in Boston and southern New England. Monday evening, it starts tapering for Boston. But this storm lingers all the way into Tuesday for Vermont, New Hampshire, and down east Maine from the wraparound. Back-end northwest flow snow fires off across West Virginia, the Smokies of North Carolina. Streamers off the Great Lakes hit Ohio, the Finger Lakes, and Erie. Now, the snowfall. I'm going to walk through probabilities first because I think that's the most honest way to tell this story, then give you model totals and my assessment. The probability of at least an inch of snow is essentially 100% from D.C. to down east Maine. That's a given. Cleveland, Erie, Buffalo, and parts of the Midwest are also basically guaranteed an inch, even into the mountains of West Virginia from Elkins down to Beckley and the Smokies. The southern cutoff is roughly Richmond and the Chesapeake Bay northward. The probability of at least 6 inches is basically a guarantee from New York City to Boston and all points in between. All of Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, the Jersey Shore, Cape Cod, Worcester, Springfield, Hartford, Waterbury, Providence, and Brockton. All guaranteed at least half a foot. Philadelphia is about a 70 to 80% chance for 6 inches. Baltimore around 60 to 70%. D.C. is about a 50-50 shot. Dover, Delaware is around 75%. The probability of a foot of snow is still near certain for eastern Long Island through Providence and Boston. This is a corridor that is going to get crushed. New York City has about a 70 to 80% chance of a foot. Philadelphia drops to about 60%. D.C. drops much lower. Baltimore falls in between. The probability of 20 inches of snow is 80% for Boston and Providence, about 60% for New York City. Cape Cod is on the higher end. Philadelphia starts to really drop off at this threshold. It's not very often you see probability numbers like this. Now the model totals. The European, which I'd call the safe bet or the slightly lower-end realistic solution, shows a bullseye of 18 to 24 inches from Boston through Providence into southern Massachusetts. The 8-inch-plus zone extends from New Jersey through Long Island, the Hudson Valley, western Massachusetts, southern Vermont, and New Hampshire, and into down east Maine. Philadelphia to D.C. is more of a 3 to 6 inch range on the Euro. I think this is a reasonable floor. The GFS is a blockbuster, a foot to 2 feet from Philadelphia all the way to Boston. Somebody in the bullseye could easily find 30 inches. I think this represents the ceiling. There's an important difference between models for the D.C. to Philadelphia corridor. High-resolution guidance like the F3 model tracks the heaviest precipitation further west, which is better for D.C., Baltimore, and Philly. The RGM model cranks the storm up a little further east, which keeps the biggest totals over New Jersey, Long Island, and southern New England, but reduces the haul for the immediate I-95 cities south of New York. The takeaway is that from New Jersey through Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and into Boston, you are locked in for a blizzard regardless. The uncertainty is in how far south and west the heaviest snow extends. My assessment of the most likely snowfall totals by city. Boston sees 18 to 24 inches with locally higher amounts, especially south and east of the city. Cape Cod and Nantucket could see 20 to 30 inches with the wraparound moisture. Providence sees 18 to 24 inches. Brockton and southeastern Massachusetts see 18 to 24 inches. Worcester sees 15 to 20 inches. Springfield sees 10 to 14 inches. Hartford sees 12 to 18 inches. Waterbury and Bridgeport see 12 to 18 inches. New London and coastal Connecticut see 14 to 20 inches. New York City sees 12 to 18 inches across the 5 boroughs. Long Island sees 15 to 24 inches with the highest on the eastern end toward Montauk. The Jersey Shore from Cape May to Sandy Hook sees 15 to 20 inches. Trenton sees 12 to 18 inches. Newark sees 10 to 15 inches. Atlantic City sees 12 to 16 inches. Philadelphia sees 6 to 12 inches with higher amounts east of the city. Wilmington, Delaware sees 8 to 14 inches. Dover sees 6 to 10 inches. Baltimore sees 4 to 8 inches, climbing into double digits in the northern suburbs. Washington, D.C. sees 3 to 6 inches in the city, more in the Maryland and Virginia suburbs. Annapolis sees 6 to 10 inches. Albany and Syracuse see 6 to 10 inches plus lake effect enhancement. Burlington sees 5 to 8 inches. Portland, Maine sees 8 to 14 inches. Down east Maine sees 6 to 12 inches. Southern Vermont and New Hampshire see 6 to 12 inches. The mountains of West Virginia see a foot or more from the wraparound and northwest flow. The Smokies and northwest flow areas of North Carolina get back in on the action after the warm spell. Indiana and Ohio see a coating to a few inches from the backside. Cleveland, Erie, and Buffalo pick up additional lake effect inches. The wind is the other headline. Monday morning, Cape Cod and Nantucket see hurricane-force gusts. Boston gusts 50 to 60. The entire Appalachian chain from North Georgia to the Virginias will be breezy. Charlotte and the Piedmont feel it Sunday night. Even the Ohio Valley gets windy. Power outages are possible where the strongest winds combine with heavy wet snow loading trees and lines. Behind the storm, well below average temperatures arrive Monday afternoon and stick around through Tuesday. Winter is back with a vengeance. Chicago drops into the teens. Detroit and Cleveland see single-digit wind chills. Minneapolis is brutal. Kansas City and St. Louis fall into the 20s. Indianapolis and Cincinnati plunge. Nashville and Louisville feel winter return hard. Atlanta drops into the 30s. Dallas-Fort Worth, which was in the 80s days ago, falls into the 40s. The cold settles in for several days, not just a brief dip. After this, exits the U.S. It remains a monster for eastern Canada. Nova Scotia faces blizzard conditions Monday evening into Tuesday morning with heavy snow and crushing winds. Newfoundland gets hit by Tuesday. Our friends across the border are going to endure this one too. One more note, there's a severe weather risk today in the warm sector ahead of this storm. Southern South Carolina, southern Georgia, and into the Auburn, Alabama area need to watch for strong, gusty winds and an isolated tornado threat through the afternoon and evening. Georgetown, South Carolina, down through Savannah to southern Georgia is the zone. This is a secondary story compared to the blizzard, but it's a real threat for those communities. By midweek, temperatures recover to average or above across the east, and that temperature rebound, the clash of warmer and colder air, is exactly the kind of setup that fuels the next storm. We'll track that when we get there. For now, hunker down. This is a historic storm for millions of people. See you in the next one.